Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat? Yes, no, 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 maybe.
Hello and welcome to Yes, No, Maybe. My name is Ryan.
My name is Willa.
We are brother and sister, and this is a podcast where we discuss, debate, and relate to the widely seen and underappreciated 2000 sitcom Malcolm in the Middle.
Do we ever? And
That's
today,
what we
do we? Do we ever?
Mm-hmm.
And today, we're talking about 302 Emancipation with a very special guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the house we have Victor Z. Isaac, who of course plays Kevin. He's a new Krelboyne replacing Eraserhead, whose character's name is Elliot. What is it?
Elliot? I don't know. We should look that up.
Yeah, that's something we should know.
We'll insert it here. His name is Kyle.
Given that we're the foremost authority on this television show.
The premier Malcolm in the Middle podcast in the country. Mm-hmm. Actually, worldwide.
So we have Victor on today to talk about him joining the show because this is his first appearance.
He slots right in. It feels like he's been there since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Hard to believe he's only in the show for 5 episodes.
I know.
That's a miracle. But we talk about his time on the show, his involvement in the reboot, and then we get into the episode. So guys, it's another guest episode. I mean, you know what you're getting into.
Buckle up. Our third guest, a third of many. I actually saw Kathy last night, Carolyn Miller. She's doing very well. Told her about how the podcast is doing. It was great. Yeah, we're friends. Mm-hmm. We're friends.
So anyway, guys, enjoy our interview with Victor Z. Isaac. And remember to leave a review and subscribe and do all that good stuff. And tune in next Monday for 303.
Hell yeah.
All right. Enjoy, guys.
Thank you so much for coming on, Victor. This is so exciting.
Dude, you don't even know. Like, this went from being like, oh yeah, this will be cool. Like, no big deal. Kind of nice of me to do some podcast about the shit. Like, I heard the premise and it's really good. And I finished the whole thing. And by the end, like the last couple of episodes, you're talking about how Linwood or maybe Tracy is going to be on. It's like, I should be bummed for someone at this point.
No.
I lucked out getting on the,
No, anybody that has any involvement with the show, we were happy to talk to, and especially you. I mean, you know, it's wild to think that because you're in 5 episodes of the show, I think total. Is that right?
yes.
IMDb. It's wild. I've had this experience with so many different characters on the show where I look at how many episodes they're actually in, and it feels so much smaller than the amount of real estate they take up in my brain. You know, it's like they had such an oversized whatever role in.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's Kevin. Kevin's there every episode.
Right, he's a mainstay of the show. He's a pillar of this television show.
That happens to me with shows that are about people who are like either wealthy or powerful and important. That like the guy who's in 3 episodes, but he plays a big deal. I assume he's a big deal.
Right.
Like if I saw him on the street, I'd be like, well,
Herkeby too. Like Herkeby and Carolyn Miller. We had Kathy Burns on the show, which you guys never interacted probably because she was the teacher when you weren't on the show.
I hung out outside her apartment for a while. I was kind of snooping around.
Throwing rocks. But I was like, oh, wasn't she a teacher for like seasons? And like, she's only in season 1. It's crazy. You're someone special to talk to too, because like the Krelboyne clan is just such a lovely little microcosm in the show. And definitely one of my favorite parts. I mean, they just always had the funniest lines and they got to be like the most theatrical, I feel like, which was really fun. Like next to Hal too. Hal's like very theatrical.
That's true. Yeah, very, very high emotional ceiling. Like I was listening to Evan's episode with you, and he was saying like it was the only speed was the top speed. And that is something that directors struggle with me sometimes. I'm
Too much?
I'm like, well, no. To get me there, to get me to that, I started doing community theater, and doing like rehearsal for plays worked well for me. Malcolm was my second job. My first episode on Malcolm was what got me into SAG. I can be a little rigid. So if I come in like thinking this is how I'll do it, or this is what I need to do, and then I'm being told to go more, it's like I'm going up very subtle notches.
That's interesting because theater can sometimes you can be too big if you're coming from theater and going to TV, right? Because TV and film, you kind of have to be smaller a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have had something to do with it. It's always been a fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not as spontaneous as I should be, or I'm not as just adapt. So I like rehearsal, so I can kind of understand it and know what I'm doing.
Would you guys do a lot of rehearsal in Malcolm, or no? Was it kind of just go?
Sometimes one run through right before we shoot the scene was all we'd do, and I liked not having much to say.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked being closer to a background.
Yeah.
I was just watching this episode, Emancipation,
Mm-hmm.
and I think in my first scene, Dabney, Kyle is in a headlock.
Yes.
There's a new bully,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like pointing or referring to Reese, like, you should, you have some big shoes to fill, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hi, Reese. This is Gus. He's in the lead to replace you as school bully. He gives a wedgie that'll knock your socks off.
At the very end of it, I just kind of nod very subtly. I was like, I remember doing that.
Yeah.
Really?
I just like that. I was agreeing solemnly, yes, you should.
You're like, that's a big choice I'm making on screen right now.
Yeah, that's
So what was the gig before Malcolm? What was the first thing you did?
the Amanda Show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Amanda Bynes. Yeah.
Yes. And I had auditioned for that maybe 5 or 6 or 7 times,
Wow.
different characters. And they wanted to find something perfect, something that would work really well. And it was almost insulting. It was my agent, my manager were like, we're not going to let them bring you in anymore. Anyway, I did that. And that was really fun. And then a year went by before I got Malcolm.
Wow.
And I was a 16-year-old who looked like a 12-year-old.
Totally.
So I think I was the oldest of the Krelboynes.
Oh wow.
Did you feel had you been watching the show as a kid and knew it, or because you were 16, so it's a little?
Yeah, I would watch it when I was home. I didn't have a DVR at that point. I was familiar enough, but I think I recognized Kyle, who plays Dabney.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw him, I was like, okay, yeah. And I knew Malcolm and Stevie. And then probably Evan would be the one that I wasn't sure if I'd remembered. And it's probably a good thing I wasn't too familiar, because I was already going to be really nervous and uncomfortable as a new guy.
Yeah, was that scary coming into an already established group?
It was a very surreal week. It was the week in August I turned 16 years old.
Wow.
Oh.
Someone else on the set had a birthday, and it was okay, and we're bringing out a cake because someone here is having a birthday. I was like, they wouldn't do that for me. They just met me. I was like, oh good, and still kind of sad.
No, I didn't want a cake. I didn't need that.
And yeah. I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about cast crew. I don't have a single, even slightly unsavory memory of anything, except for my own feelings about myself. Or
Well, that's a classic Krelboyne thing. You're gonna shit on yourself, as we see in this episode.
Yeah, but that is a sentiment we've heard repeated, is just that it was a very safe, nurturing environment where it was just fun.
And Ryan and I are like, thank God.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Can you imagine? Yeah, this podcast uncovered. It becomes a true crime podcast.
I mean, maybe that would be really good for
Yeah.
us if we cracked open something. But no, it's really lovely. And I was just talking to our producer Rose about it. She's like, everybody I talk to, that I'm coordinating with, is just so nice.
Yeah.
So it's just great. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go and be with everybody again for the reboot too, right? And was that
Yes.
also surreal? I'm sure.
It was. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I loved it. We were all wondering, is there going to be more of this?
Yeah.
I joined in season 3.
Mhm.
So for the other Krelboynes, for Kyle and Evan, they were all there. They met each other before anyone was famous or before the show was big. And also, I'm bad with names.
Me too.
So I just feel like I came back and they were like, oh, yeah, oh, and I'm like, did I work with? I don't know if I was there for a brief little end window before the Krelboyne era ended.
Mm. Yeah, when do the Krelboynes kind of stop? I mean, does it go into high school? We're doing the rewatch now. Ryan has a much more insane, scary knowledge of the whole show, but I kind of feel like sometimes when I'm rewatching episodes, I'm remembering and recalling like what happens in the show.
Yeah.
Well-
yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go, please.
I have nothing to say.
As usual.
I would. Would you ever just do like a silent,
Yeah.
Silent
like
pod?
like a few minutes of just kind of like
I don't know if it's possible for us to stop talking for that long.
Right.
it might not be good for the medium,
All
That's
right.
true.
but let's try it. The era ended when, so I was always really, I thought maybe it was only me who stopped getting called.
Mm.
I don't think I watched it after season 4
Mm.
back then, and I was assuming Evan and Kyle continued to be in seasons, and I
Wow.
just kind of made peace with that. I was like, that's no, I get it, that's fine. That was their last season
Mm.
too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was the 4th season.
Stevie's kind of the only Krelboyne carryover, even though he's kind of introduced in the first episode. So he was always kind of a main
he's
player.
him and Malcolm kind of
Yeah.
they're
And he's too cool to be. I don't think of him as a Krelboyne.
No,
He
yeah.
is technically.
he is cool. I love how much more like sass he gets. Just more and more like he has these like out of pocket remarks. I think in this episode, he's the only one to be like, I don't regret anything when everybody goes against Malcolm, and
Yeah.
I regret nothing.
I regret nothing. Yeah, it's awesome. Like on this rewatch, I think I'm really realizing how much of a kind of a unique character he is.
Craig he's maybe my favorite person to hang out with.
Oh,
I like that energy.
yeah,
It's completely there. He's true to the character, which I wouldn't have guessed because the character's wheelchair, glasses, breathing.
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
They try and make him like as nerdy as possible.
Yeah, but he was right back with it, and I can't say too much about the
Totally.
Yeah.
stuff, but I can say, because we all know it's 4 episodes.
Mhm.
So that's
Wait, oh my
knowledge.
God, exclusive.
No, we know
Yeah,
that.
we did.
When I got all the scripts, I couldn't stop reading it. Like it was like a book I couldn't put down. And Linwood wrote all 4 episodes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be. I'm not worried about it. Not anything. It's too good. The writing was too good to be. It's like when I watch Saturday Night Live sometimes.
Mhm.
It's like, however they perform it, it's like this is the best comedy
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
on the planet.
Right.
I really, really liked it. I'm looking forward to watching it.
I have one question just about Kevin in general, like even in the original. Like this is your first episode, and I'm curious, like how much when you were being directed was there individuality in Kevin? Like were you kind of directed as an ensemble, or were you sort of like, this is who Kevin is? I mean, there's some remark about like, there's a remark Huckabee makes about what matrimonial or matricidal
Tendencies.
yeah. And so I'm just wondering, like, was there any specific direction for Kevin as a character? Were you given any sort of like, insight into him?
That was the scene. That was the audition scene.
Mhm.
That was the first in the audition scenes. In my 10 years of acting, when I was going on auditions, I can think of maybe 2 times where it would not in an egotistical way, but I knew I would get the part
Yeah.
because I knew there wasn't anyone else. Like, no, there's not another one of me.
Mhm.
Like, not because I have matricidal tendencies, but the darkness of that joke, because he's smart enough to know exactly what the teacher meant, but maybe he hadn't discovered that. Like, maybe he didn't know that about himself yet.
Yeah, or he feared it, like deep dark.
Yeah, like in this, the way I cut him, like it was. Please stop. Like I wasn't arguing. I wasn't trying to fight. I was just trying to say, like,
Yeah.
please.
It's like you're right on the
Um,
money, so don't keep talking because it's you're
Yeah.
gonna say something else that's true.
Who's the anal retentive outsider with repressed matricidal tendencies?
News for me, sir. Please stop.
So that scene was with Huckabee, Chris Eichmann.
He was very generous. I remember because that was his first episode too,
Mhm.
and I think he must have realized or known or just maybe it had nothing to do with it. I was the other one who was brand new.
Yeah, he is fantastic, and
So good.
and it's such a. I mean, Caroline is a great character as well, but Huckabee, they give a sort of level of like the fact that he is a Krelboyne that functionally kind of failed, whatever that means. You know, he had this .com boom, this company that didn't work. He's sort of like this dark mirror for what the Krelboynes, specifically Malcolm, could be. And it adds a really interesting kind of sounding board for the Krelboynes, where there's a sort of resentment that he has for them, I think, for being so young and like, God damn it, like, why isn't that me? But also a sort of like nihilism I think he has of like, he's ranking all of them and it's like, ultimately this doesn't fucking matter. And
I mean, maybe he's also thinking, I wish a teacher had like pushed me enough and told me the reality so that they can avoid my fate. Like, but he does it in a selfish way. Like, I don't think it's that kind,
He's trying to spare us the pain
Yeah.
of the life we have before us if we're not jaded and cynical to begin with.
Right.
And I totally get that. I think there's a love he has, but he's gone backward in his, his way of approaching things. And I think that's good.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. No, I'm not. But I do think what you were asking about with Kevin, I realized in rewatching, so I rewatched the whole show and I hadn't seen most of it. And I was really jazzed when I saw Frankie Muniz in interviews because we had the same exact experience doing the rewatch. He was the star, but in rewatching, he's like, it went over my head. Like, and I was like, that's exactly what I went through. Like, this is, I'm like, kind of in awe of, and I knew it was good, but, there's something about Kevin. The episode where he explodes the classroom with the experiment, and when they're leaving covered in goo,
Right.
I say something like, there was less than a 48% chance this would happen. Like, so you knew.
Yeah.
So you feel like that those odds should have been in your favor.
Yeah.
Like there's something a little, too reckless about him that I can relate to that.
In seasons like 1 and 2, also they, especially that episode Hal Quits, when Malcolm's freaking out about his future a bit and kind of imagining what they'll do, and all the Krelboynes tell Malcolm like, oh well, we all know, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go to this school. And I think the Herkeby character coming in really blows up that sense of confidence and assuredness that a lot of them have in their future. And there is a certain like arrogance that the Krelboynes have, and maybe that Kevin demonstrates in that science experiment, like, oh, there's only a 40% chance it couldn't happen to me, whatever.
Yes.
God, it's really fun that they introduced this foil to the Krelboynes.
And that's probably one of the main reasons why they switched the teachers, is it wasn't going to work with a nurturing,
Yes,
like on their side sort of spirit, which would have been good in real life, but for Malcolm's being sort of, and it's so funny how the Krelboynes look at him like he's the alpha,
yeah,
but also the one thing he's missing that we have would help him, which is sort of a resignation. There's a strength they have that he's fighting, this sort of owning his majesty.
yeah. That's true. They're kind of like, we are nerds, and that's fine. And he like fights that idea. Certainly.
Yes.
So, episode is season 3, episode 2, Emancipation. It's directed by James Simmons. It's written by Alan J. Higgs. Well done, fellas. Can I say that?
Properly done.
Bravo.
Good job.
What's interesting about this cold open is that it's the second time in the show so far that the cold open is like a narrative continuation. Usually they're sort of like isolated kind of vignettes, but in this one, we have Francis leaving military school, Marlin Academy. The only other time this has happened is in the traffic jam episode, which is the beginning of season 2, where it's a continuation of the last season. But yeah, in this one, so Francis is basically talking to Spangler and is like, I got emancipated, I'm out of here. And you kind of think it's going to be this, fuck you, I'm out of here. But it becomes kind of this sweet, well, it starts as this sweet kind of moment where Spangler thanks him for basically teaching him how to be a teacher again, right? Like showing him and making him feel alive. And it's this interesting kind of thing, especially when we're talking about like Herkeby and this kind of love that he has. Like, this is an episode that deals with like authority figures in a pretty direct way. And especially like this moment, like Spangler is kind of like the Lois of Francis's storyline, in the same way that Huckabee is kind of like a Lois for Malcolm at school, where it's like they need these like institutions and these powers to like rage against.
Yeah.
And that is certainly what Spangler kind of acts as. And it's sweet that he's like,
I mean, he says, "I like me again." It's so great. I mean, it's Joker and Batman. It's the, you gotta have, you need each other. So it's kind of sad that Francis is leaving, but he leaves him a little something to remember him by, which is chopping off his remaining hand.
yeah. So he gives Francis a sword, and Francis unsheaths it. And
He cuts it so easily.
this must be a sharp sword.
It's a sharp sword, and Francis has strength I think none of us realized.
I mean, good on Spangler for not pressing charges.
Yeah, it probably just kind of put the cherry on top of what he was saying. Like, yeah,
right.
It's like Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Like,
That's
Sure.
that's how much this is helping define my own place in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Worth another hand.
I will say the cold open starts with Francis like picking up a picture of his family, which I thought was sweet. Like it's him packing that along with all his stuff. So just to like, reaffirm the fact that he really does, love his family, even if he has all this resentment and rage toward, the rage is really toward Lois, which is a bummer.
But your insolence and stupidity have been the irritating grain of sand around which has formed the pearl of my renaissance. I like me again.
It's so sad, though, that he does all this because he can't stand military school and he ends up in Alaska in a definitely worse
Yeah, I
scenario
know.
for all
Yeah.
the same reasons.
Well, that's something very funny that I love the recurring gag in the episode that he doesn't really know anything about Alaska.
Yeah.
He's like, it's 5,000 miles away. What the hell?
Yeah, right.
It's cold year round. There's no sun. Like he didn't know any of that, which is just great. It's just not here, which is what he wants,
I relate to that. In rewatching it, or really watching it all to begin with, Reese and Francis were probably the two I was like, oh wow, I get a lot of that. But especially with Francis, just sort of like, he'll just believe, something that he should know better because it's just helping distract him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like very like he really believes in something. He loves to rally troops behind a cause, and I think a lot of times he frames his immaturity or his, him being selfish as like this act of nobility, which I think is very funny.
I think it was you who brought something up about the episode where it was the bowling probably.
Mm-hmm.
And when he asks how for like about money or something, and he gets a no, it's a very like, okay, thanks anyway.
Yes.
But when it's the version where it's Lois, he flips out and he's like, this is all you have. It's like, I do that sometimes.
Right.
I do that with the wrong people. I mean, like people who I should.
It's not just the question and the no in that moment. It's all the years of It's all the other stuff that you're like putting behind this question, Like that's all
and
coming
then you're
up.
just like, whatever problem there is, you're only making it worse.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
something to catch.
And it's the thought that and we'll get to it at the end of when Francis explodes at Lois at the end of this episode, but I think partly it comes from the fact where he's like, you caused this problem. I think he has this resentment with her where like when he blows up, I think it's like sort of he blames her for him being there in the first place,
I don't think children can know, unless there's some sort of heinous abuse. I don't think children can know like how much you're in debt, especially to mom.
Yeah.
So all of his points, it's like, yeah, but dude, the scale is so much in her favor, and like she loves you so much. The sooner you understand that, the better, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I still don't.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of this horrific thing. I've actually been thinking about that a lot recently about like children, especially children like throwing tantrums and stuff and like toddlers and not understanding like the world is so scary and confusing and it only takes like getting older and living life to realize how much like you're being protected and you're being taken care of and this show is a beautiful like look into that too as the boys grow up, and I'm just so curious in the reboot about whether they are now having a different perspective about Lois and Hal. And I'm sure comically in a lot of ways they won't, but I'm excited to see where they have found a lot of like grace for their parents, especially like Malcolm having a kid. Yeah.
I was going to say the thing about there being a new generation
Yeah.
and there being some sort of so he's going to start to understand things. I think that will be interesting to.
We'll leave it at that for
It's
you.
gonna fuck me up to
say
see Malcolm use an iPhone. I'll say that. Like, it's gonna be weird. Like,
I know. In the poster, I think Reese is holding an iPhone. It was like so
Get
disturbing.
put that away.
What the hell is in your hand?
Yeah, and Malcolm, in rewatching, it was like watching a horror. It was like almost watching David Lynch or something at times. How much I was like, he's like, I see myself in this guy, and he's being so awful.
Yeah.
I used to just think he was like, dealing with frustrations, but it's like, wow, no, he doesn't realize he's being a real jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice in the reboot. I mean, I think you can already kind of tell he has a kid, so
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's
Gotta have
growing
some
past that.
perspective. Yeah, I think keeping with the Francis storyline, if we can just keep talking about that. I mean, he comes home, and I think that scene with him and the boys where they're like, you fucking left, dude.
Yeah.
You abandoned by doing this. Like, they took such a strong stance by saying you abandoned mom. We would never do this. It's like you're divorcing the family, they said. Like,
Yes.
that is, and the boys have always treated Francis like a god,
Yeah.
and have thought he was, and have been so deferential to him. So to see them all kind of turn their backs on him and be, they still threw him a pillow and were like, okay, you can stay here. But that was a rare win for the boys.
Yeah, that's a sweet
standing
moment.
up for their mom.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of bad things to Mom, but we would never abandon her.
I'm not abandoning her. I'm just going to Alaska.
That's 5,000 miles away.
It is not 5,000 miles. Are you serious?
Yeah, I remember being surprised by that, or just sort of like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'll have to start to notice
Yeah.
that there's a line and there is some sort of structure. They're
Right.
not little hellions through and through.
Like, even that moment where Reese is like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "I said sorry," and she's like, "What?" She's like,
I've heard sorry before.
and he's like, "I don't think that you have." Like, yeah. Which is such a great line.
Yeah, he's like acknowledging, like the boys know that Francis has done something that's like deeper and more intense, which is that can really have an effect. I mean, I don't know if I've ever like confronted you about something you've done to the family or something. I mean, that is just like, that's a pretty big situation,
Yeah.
I think I've been like, we've argued about how to treat your parents. I think that's like,
Sure.
that's definitely a thing you get in with siblings. Do you have siblings, Victor?
I have an older brother, 7 years older, and that's the only sibling I have. And yeah, there have been, I mean, I've had at least 3 or 4 like moments where it's like, okay, well, I'll just have to not remember this.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm going to have any going forward and being positive. And then later realizing like, okay, yeah, maybe there's still an apology or a.
I know. For me,
somehow
it's bizarre how, I mean, sometimes I'm like, whoa, life just keeps going. And we just keep yeah, that happened. And we're probably going to be dealing and talking about it for the rest of our lives. Whatever thing we go through, like this emancipation moment would be something that they talk about years later, being like, you made this decision and that was really the root cause, or whatever it is.
Well, I love the whole everything with Francis, the ranch.
Yeah.
Otto.
I'm excited.
One of my favorite episodes was when Hal and Otto meet and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Otto looks at him like he reveres him for being the man who raised, like,
Yeah.
all of that.
So when Francis, comes home in this cab, Hal completely like goes after him and attacks him in this
Chases
great
him.
physical comedy moment. He's chasing him. Francis climbs a tree. Hal bites his leg. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then we hard cut to them walking back to the house and having a heart to heart. And I feel like it's a good distillation of like the kind of lesson, the way that this family, especially Hal, teaches these boys, which is like they sometimes use fists first, right? Like they're so overwhelmed that it's violence first. And even with the boys, with Francis, like they punch him, right?
Yeah.
And then they tell him, "You did, like, fuck you for doing that to mom." With Hal, it's like chases Francis up a tree, bites him, and then it's like this heart to heart. It's like he had to get that out of the way, and that was kind of his way of confronting this problem. And meanwhile, Lois, because she doesn't have any control, like she's somebody that seeks control so much, and right now she has none of it, that she just looks through Francis, right? She's just completely ignoring him. And that's kind of her method, which we've never seen her really do before.
No, except she did do the like, I'm done kind of shutting down for her birth. Was that her birthday? Yeah, that one.
There are moments in life that you just don't get back, and I know you. If you do not deal with this now, it will haunt you forever.
I mean, Hal's speech to her is really heartbreaking too. And when he's just like, come on, he's going to go miles away. You might not see him for a very long time. You know, and it's funny that Hal, every time, you know, it's like, he thinks Francis is going to actually say something good. He thinks that this time it'll be different, and that he'll apologize and have a real conversation with Lois. Hal has that devastating line of, you know, I've lost a son and gained a baby to Lois, and then of course Francis just turns around and starts unloading on Lois when she finally like goes to hear him out. You know, it's funny. It's also so tough.
Lois was a character I don't think I understood. I didn't like her very much, and I had never watched the show through to the end. And by the end of the series, I was like, "Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
I really love her."
Same.
Yeah.
And now I feel bad.
Yeah.
You know, like, why wasn't I?
Well, because like you're watching it when you're a kid too. It's like she is she's painted as the enemy to them, and there's so many stupid things they do that as a kid watching it, I was like, oh, that'd be fun to do. And why is she ragging on them? You know, but obviously she has so much integrity and heart and like she has such a strong moral backbone. I mean, sometimes it bends, I'll be honest, but she does. She's just got this moral code that I think is very admirable.
And she smokes cigarettes.
Right.
She's cool.
No one knows. It's a secret. I don't mean the actress does.
Yeah, you're just exposing Jane.
Yeah, and get this.
And get this.
She's a day smoker.
Yeah. Loves the wine.
Yeah. It'd be funny if you came on this podcast and just was just airing out dirty laundry for every cast member.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they do bring back the show, you're like just making sure you're not getting that call.
I know, yeah. Like you should have seen the hotel rooms, the Krelboynes, for the reboot. Oh my gosh. It's funny how ultimately at the core how tame, like we're all pretty much Krelboynes in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You talk about like you feeling like you nailed the audition and like that vibe. It's like when you were that age, like you had that look. I don't know how differently you dressed. I'm sure you didn't dress like a Krelboyne, but like you had a very distinct look as a teenager that I think slotted into that vibe really, really well.
I didn't like that.
Really?
I didn't want that. I always assumed by the like when I started high school, when I was 14, and I saw these guys who were seniors, I was like, so I'll look like one of them, like my version of that. And I barely looked like half a year older by my senior year. This is all good for.
Yeah, your agent loved it.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I think I'm a year older than Frankie. And then the other Krelboynes were no more than a couple of years younger. I knew how to be grateful for how it lent itself to having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Here he comes! Here he comes!
So that's kind of the Francis storyline, which I think was really strong, and I think a good continuation of the last episode. It's funny that this is a two-parter because the first part, like Will and I were talking about how this episode feels like the season premiere in some ways. Like they're starting a new year in school, and Francis comes back, and you know there's all these things where it's like this is a new kind of. It just feels like the start of something. New teacher, right? And then. But it's a part two of like the earlier episode. And
I really think Houseboat should have been two. I really think this should have been the start, and then they go like I don't know. It just seems weird to me that Houseboat is the first episode.
Yeah, it is kind of strange because they are doing a lot of table setting, right? Like new Krelboyne, new teacher.
I guess maybe it would be weird if they all of a sudden then went on a trip. But I guess because it's summer and then summer's done. But still, it felt to have Herkeby introduced episode 2 instead of episode 1.
Yeah.
Just kind of, and Kevin, let alone Kevin.
Yeah, come on.
Houseboat was like a palette.
And a
cleanser?
moose-bouche.
What do they call those things?
A little palate cleanser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, moose-bouche.
Right.
Yeah, Houseboat was kind of crazy. Yeah, it felt like that should have aired in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, the A plot of this episode that we kind of talked about is there's a new teacher, and all the Krelboynes are excited about it and have kind of like got him gifts. And he comes in.
Lloyd
and-
did like a book report about, like he like studied him and found all this information.
Yeah, and Dabney got a soy latte for him, and he comes in and just absolutely eviscerates all of them, and sort of like, you know, armchair experts them. Like he's like diagnosing all of them of their sort of like
neuroses,
proclivities. Yeah, and it's pretty devastating.
It's horrific.
But it is so great to see that with the Krelboynes, like them having a sort of antagonist. It's like suddenly there's like a narrative engine there where you're like, oh, something to really play, you know, and because their plot line was always fun and amusing, but here it's like they have something to really rage against in a way that Francis does with Spangler, and I think their plot just like gets elevated for it.
I like seeing Herkeby in that last scene where we're all like rattled, and I think I've got like a Starbucks. We're all just like coming apart while Malcolm's just sitting there like cool because he's decided he's going to win that game. Herkeby kind of tries to pump the brakes. He kind of tries to like, why don't we all just have like some quiet time? Like, yeah, we all just like take a rest, and like it's just too late. And the look on his face when we've all gone outside, we've shed our clothes and we're in the mud, and he's not entirely distraught because he did want to, but there is this like
bewilderment a little bit, like you know, I think he loses control. I mean, I think like I almost called him Francis because he's acting very Francis, but Malcolm wins, you know, and he breaks the system, as he says. I was going to ask if you got to roll around in the mud, or was it just Kyle and Evan that got to do that?
No, I was pretty grateful. All I did was I think I run across the establishing shot of the pans, and I'm hitting myself with my belt.
That's like, awesome.
As I run past, which was still more torso than I wanted to.
Right.
yeah, they did have you guys stripped down.
Kyle and Evan they fully were in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're uninhibited.
Yeah, I think Evan was talking about how like freeing it was to just get to be so out, like just so ridiculous and heightened, which I imagine like so fun.
He is. I think Kyle is. Dabney's my favorite, so I'll take that stance.
Dabney's a great character.
But in watching, like, it's like, oh yeah, geez, Lloyd is actually like, I'm kind of trailing him in that spirit. The character Kevin might be trailing that spirit. I love like, oh no, I have a pillow. Thank you very much. I just need some help blowing it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the travel pillow on the bus. It's like, ooh, he's got claws.
Yeah. Whereas Dabney is very like, oh yeah, you can hit me. Please hit me. Like, you know, he's very like, I am a wimp. This is my role. But I think Kevin's got a little bit more of backbone to him.
Dabney's the one that I think is probably the closest to healthy in like self-love.
That's true. He has the emotional core.
He's got a tough mom in the show. Remember, his mom is really uphill.
Yeah.
So, what does being number one get you?
Nothing. Just the knowledge that you are number one. Or that you are not number one. Yes, number 5.
And then, we have this ranking. So this is what eventually breaks all the Krelboynes, is the fact that Herkeby is like, yeah, you all got A's, but some of you got better A's. And there's this like 99.998, 99.997. And I think Kevin was number 4.
Number 4. How does it feel to be number 4?
But in my memory, I thought it was number 2. I thought it was second.
That's reserved for Stevie on that board.
Yeah, I was rewatched. I was like, oh, I was never that high.
4 is pretty good.
4 ain't bad.
4 is good. Yeah, it's not bad to end up. I get the feeling like their weaknesses are what's more interesting.
Yes. Yeah. The ways that, like, you know, the fact that Dabney has like a terrifying mom and is a bedwetter, and the fact that Lloyd is really has an obsession with death packs and suicide. Like, that's fascinating. It's so funny. He's like, no more death packs, you know.
No more death packs.
I do like the idea that they're ranking. Like, he's obviously ranking all of them, but like in my mind, it's like obviously, you know, the differences are so marginal that so much so that it might as well be non-existent. Like, in my mind, it's like Huckabee, it's just psychological. Like, he's doing it. I'm sure Malcolm's essay was a little bit better than the rest of them, or so on and so forth. But like that's so clearly just a tool to incite this competition that, you know, I guess it's left up to the viewer to wonder why exactly he's doing it, but it is lighting a fire under their ass. And even Malcolm kind of succumbs to it over the course of the episode.
Yeah, Malcolm's clearly turning out amazing work. I mean, he breaks the board. He's like above it. I'm like, what could he possibly be writing?
But let's talk about this dispersion in these percentages, because we have percentage by percentage, there's a difference of about 0.0001% per person. Like, that's how marginal it is. Except when you get to Kevin and Della. Kevin is above Della by a whole 1%. So there we have a drop off in quality of writing between Kevin and Della that is seems pretty profound.
It's the female-male divide.
Sure, I guess that's what the writers are getting at.
That's what they were getting at.
Come on, guys, look at yourselves. If we don't let those stupid rankings get to us, they mean nothing.
Easy for you to say number one.
I have a name. We all have names.
Oh my God, I can't remember mine.
Were there recurring actors that were other Krelboynes that didn't have names, or?
Yes, the like non-speaking part Krelboynes. There were a few who were the central crew that they brought back. One of them, I forget her character's name and her name. She ended up working at the Trader Joe's caddy corner to the gastropub I worked at.
Oh,
cool.
Years later, I often had a part that I got, and then the background people were like, "Did you audition for this, or did they just give you this line?" It's like, "No, I auditioned." There's a big gap. There's a full percentage gap.
yeah,
Exactly,
yeah. Look at the damn
Earn that.
board
Yeah,
and
see
tell me
yeah.
if I auditioned.
Uh-huh.
What do you think Kevin's like specialty was? Like, do you think he's particularly good at, like, he was a math guy, he was a science guy?
Probably chemistry.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
Right.
of that later episode.
He knew what he was doing. That's the weird thing about it. He knew 48%.
Yeah, that's
Less
that.
than a
You're
40%.
really you're stuck on that.
He not only did he run the odds, he knew it was likely that it wasn't going to work, and he still ran it, which does say a lot about his character.
Yeah.
And I'm a little indignant.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal? Like, how did the coin come up tails?
Yeah, right.
I called heads.
And so Kevin's the one that's studying at the table when they're all having lunch, right? So Kevin's kind of the first canary in the coal mine of, okay, actually people are listening to Huckabee's ranking and studying.
I was probably in that social group still struggling to feel like I had an identity, that I was going to be missed if I was not there. So even though this was a very stupid ranking system, I wanted to show, like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Right.
Full percent.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You were studying?
No, I wasn't. My book just fell open to this page.
Yeah, so they realize that there's, all of them start studying to try and get to the top of this ranking, and then Malcolm has the plan that they all basically intentionally flunk this essay, so they all get zeros, and basically they're
To blow up the ranking.
which if they all get zeros, the ranking stays exactly how it is. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Don't. Just don't.
They decide to just like basically not play his game, but then of course everybody chickens out and does ace the test except Malcolm.
Yeah.
Which then causes him to really buck it up and start studying. And then there's a really fun montage where it's like the rankings going up and down, and Malcolm studying harder than them. And I'm always amazed that Malcolm finds the time to do all this homework given his chaotic
I know.
home life.
I know. It's like he doesn't break a sweat at all. I'm like, are you just operating at like 30% of your potential at all times? And you could actually just be like, he's like a fucking super genius. It's so funny. I mean, maybe it's because he has purpose in it too, whereas the Krelboynes are all kind of killing themselves, and he's like, at least I know I'm trying to blow up the system. There's some of that.
I mean, looking at Malcolm as a character and like how much unsavoriness there is there, but realizing like Linwood, this is, it's based on Linwood. And he was in the X-Men special class when he was a kid. That it's like I've spent time with him, not a lot, but I mean, he's really easygoing, nice. He's not unsavory at all.
I bet there has to be some Malcolm in Linwood. I think also like when you're writing fictional character, it's like you're sort of like expunging the worst parts of yourself, or like the parts that you're worried that you have, I think are the ones that are often like the most dramatically interesting.
And you wonder if some of his his own character got split among the brothers a bit, like, oh, I feel a little Dewey, I feel a little, Reese, I feel a little Malcolm. But some of my favorite moments are when the Krelboynes call Malcolm out on that and they're like, you're being a dick, like that I think is super interesting.
When Stevie. I always want to say Floyd or Lloyd.
Lloyd.
And Stewie, Stevie.
I kept saying Stewie when we first started the show a lot. It's tough.
Yes. He has a moment like that with Malcolm in at least one episode where he really is like, and I felt bad for Stevie because I think Malcolm is basically abusing him with his venting and his complaining and whining to the kid who can't breathe in a wheelchair.
Totally. It's kind of like, I think that is true, but I also kind of respect how it's like Malcolm doesn't treat him any differently. Like Malcolm really doesn't see the disability at all, and he's sort of like, he is showing him, like, I think Stevie's such an essential character to the show because you need a sort of like clean slate for the Wilkersons to kind of rub off on, like he's an example of like what happens when this family by proximity, and you start as this very good-natured person, and it's like you start to become more of like a kid in the traditional kind of like snot-nosed sense of like you become a little shit kind of, but also more human and more like a teenager is.
I regret nothing.
So there's this montage where everybody's trying to one-up each other, and basically it ends with all of the Krelboynes basically like shorting out, and by design for Malcolm. Malcolm like goads them on, and has them like read prime numbers up to 1 million or whatever, and they blow up in Hercules' face.
Yeah, and they're saying, I'm stupid, I'm zero. Like, right. I think you're yelling zero.
Yeah, right. Where Malcolm's kind of gaming the system, and it sets the stage for what their dynamic is going to be. Where it's like he's kind of they're so similar. Like something I wanted to talk about is that we hear that Hercule went to Harvard, and eventually Malcolm does go to Harvard. So like there is this sort of like parallel between them. I think it's like kind of by design, but it is interesting that they're sort of like this two sides of the same coin,
or a possible future and something. To learn what you don't want to do.
Yes, Hercule was trying to teach them a certain lesson, but his very presence and being taught a more valuable lesson.
Yeah,
Right.
It's true.
Right.
It's true. He's not like giving them what he thinks he's giving them. I mean, his insults about the school are just so funny. He's like, this pea-brained principal wouldn't even fathom. I think he's like, I think my 2 doctorates from Harvard will suffice to teach. It's just, he delivers it with such, like that actor, I just love his quality of voice too. It just like drips with like, condescension. It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys freak out, and then you're right. He has this great look on his face, and I think it's the birth of a villain there, because he really, we'll see, rails against Malcolm and is trying to best Malcolm. It kind of becomes a Spangler character. Spangler lost his Francis, but Hercule gained his Malcolm. Okay, print that, put that on a shirt. That's beautiful.
Put that on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt. Imagine people are like, what is that?
What is that shirt? It's like I couldn't even explain it to you.
I love that guy. Yeah, I really love, like, watching him was great. And Frankie was like, that was the first thing I was struck with Frankie, is like, he is effortless. He's just, there's this thing of like, oh, there's something he doesn't even have to navigate as far as being real.
Yeah, he's super natural, not supernatural, but very natural.
It's
no, he was lifting up things.
Really? Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, let's talk about that. Yeah, he was magic.
I flew a couple times.
An hour and 10 minutes, and you're like, actually, he was magic. But it is hard. It's a hard role to play, where it's like you have to be a super genius and also a relatively normal kid, and like he does manage to walk that line pretty well. It's like he has to kind of oscillate between those two ends.
He also doesn't really get to be funny in a comedy. I saw him speaking about this in some interview clip, like that everybody else gets to be funny, and he kind of has to be this sardonic asshole. But he, he's essential to the show, obviously.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's like Jason Bateman in Arrested Development, which we've talked about.
It's true.
I really wish I could hang out with Hal and Lois, like those characters, like just spend like a summer at a campground.
I wish they were real. I wish I could get a beer with them so bad.
I know.
It's so funny. I so wish that. I'm with Abe. Come on.
Seriously.
Come on now.
She's healing. She has a healing quality, energy that I didn't catch because she was, reactionarily abrasive at times.
Yeah,
she can be uptight, Lois, but she also does let loose. Like, there's so many examples in the show of her just like chilling the fuck out, and sometimes it's like drinks are involved, but sometimes it's like not. Like, I think that she's just like, she has the capacity to be really mellow.
We see her railing on the boys because she's frustrated with Francis, and he in particular like has a way of getting to her. I think more than any of the other boys. I mean, that's obvious.
Totally.
But.
Maybe it was kind of like letting her off the hook, the way he reacts at the end.
Yeah.
Like, if he had taken the high road, it may have been more difficult for her to like accept and digest things. But his doing that flip may have been a favor to her in some way.
Yeah, that moment is pretty devastating. On the one hand, it's like, you're like, God damn it, why can't you just like get along? And it's also funny, but it also is like, I think a strong suit of the show is that, like, we talk about this all the time, but the moments in which it subverts like a sentimental moment, you said
it's allergic to sentimentality.
Did I say that?
Yeah, I like that. It's true.
I think the show is, and I think like it's so much better for it because it manages to sneak out in those moments, kind of when you least expect them, and then when you are expecting them, it is a blow up argument, and I think which feels very true to life and childhood. But also I think just makes for like surprising, like dynamic TV.
Chris Masterson gave a really good performance there.
Yeah.
I thought this whole episode he was fantastic, and Jane as well. But
I'm listening. This is what you get. This is what you get for the way you treated me. I'm going to Alaska, and you're going to be left without a son, and the horrible way you treated me is now a matter of public record. I treated you!
Also Reese is in high school. We should have mentioned.
Right.
Not much Dewey in this episode. Dewey has a great line at the end to Francis, kind of saying, when you're broke and at the end of your rope, you can come live in my castle. I love that. It's so cute.
It is cute.
And then Reese is in high school, and he's just loving it. He's loving that there's a whole room for detention.
Yeah, that is funny.
So real quick, Reese became my favorite character as soon as I started the rewatch. There's an episode, Hot Tub, season 5, episode 10,
with the algae,
where Reese is becoming like a bigger brother to one of Dewey's friends, and he's stealing him from Dewey. So at the dinner table, when Malcolm's like, where's the pepper? Where's the mustard? Dewey goes like, maybe Reese stole it. Like, and then Reese was like, yeah, well, maybe the mustard likes me more. Maybe he thinks I'm fun. And then Dewey's like, you stole my friend. He's like, and Reese is like, wait, whoa, don't change the subject. I thought we were talking about mustard.
That's so good.
Yeah. My favorite episode that I got to be in was Humiliathon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cynthia's in. Malcolm's about to drive his car and drive his mom's car and crash it at the very end. That in the rewatch, I realized like, oh my gosh, I could watch this. I've watched it over and over. I really like that story. I'm so grateful to have gotten to be a part of it. I still, this whole thing with the reading has been like, I'm not going to wake up if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying it.
That's so nice.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that it like was such a good experience for everybody.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It sounds like across the board, it was great.
Yes.
It's so funny. Sometimes I feel like I sound like when I'm saying that, I'm like, it's so nice you guys all got to do that. Like I'm like from the outside, like, oh, that's really awesome. Can't wait to talk about it on my podcast.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, and by the way, I might spearhead the Reddit page for your.
Let's
for your
go.
podcast.
Okay, yeah. What's your stance on the whole Reddit situation?
Sure.
I sent a message to them, and I heard back right away.
What?
What did they say?
It was a very like well stated. It was like I was expecting like it to be dumb, like you guys don't have any. It was like it was so respectfully responded. I just don't think it's a Reddit page for a TV show. It can be a little more fast and loose. It can be a little more like, it doesn't have to be that rigid.
Yeah.
And so I was expecting to maybe kind of like jostle them loose, but it was like, oh no, which is fairly okay. I'll make the yes no maybe podcast Reddit.
Wow, and even your Kevin creds didn't bypass.
Oh, they don't know who I am.
You didn't use the Kevin. Okay, all right, all right.
That's fair.
Well, if they listen, they'll know.
I know. Now I'm nervous.
Will and I were just talking about how we want to get to a point where it becomes unavoidable that the podcast, the subreddit has to talk about us.
Yeah.
I think if things work out and Linwood or Tracy actually do come on, like that seems like something they'd want to talk about on the Reddit. Yeah.
You're gonna have to be on the show. You'll have to play yourselves as podcast hosts on the show, and then they'll let it be on the Reddit page.
I know. We'll get to that point.
I love listening to you guys. Like it's really, really been. I wouldn't imagine I could get through that much recorded talking in such a short period of time and not get burnt out.
Thanks, Victor.
That's so surreal to hear.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we can't wait to see you in the reboot. It's going to be a hoot.
It was great. It was great fun.
And by the way, you have an open invite anytime you want to come back. So if there's an episode you like or want to talk about, seriously.
If you want to talk about Humilathon in a couple of years when we get to it.
No, it's season 3, right?
Yeah.
No, he said season 5.
No, that Humilathon is 4.
Okay.
Oh, 4. Okay.
So I will invite myself to that one.
I also think it would be really fun to do like a Krelboyne, like we get a couple Krelboynes all on the pod talking. That'd be really fun.
It's like out of body sometimes.
Yeah. We'll make you guys recite lines. It'd be great. We'll give you scripts for an episode that we wrote.
Yeah. And we're characters.
We're characters.
We're like big characters.
They're like, hey guys, so nice to see my friends.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm very jazzed about getting to be here.
Of course.
Us too, Victor. Yeah. Thanks so much, man. This is a real joy.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Take it easy.
You too.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat?